Hey guys, happy whatever day it is. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tony and this is Activism on the Fly. It's the place where I learn about and talk about becoming a better ally, advocate, and activist. I've said over and over to you guys in different videos that this is a journey that I'm on, and I've welcomed you to come on this journey with me. So today what I want to do is just talk about the journey, to reflect on kind of how it's going and some of the struggles in my quest to become better. So I've been learning a lot through social media. I am reading White Rage. I've been listening to podcasts that are centered on racial justice, and I've kind of integrated activism and learning into my day-to-day life. So pretty much every day I'm consuming more activism related content, and I'm amplifying voices that I think should be amplified, digging deeper into issues that I hadn't learned a lot about before. I'm learning to kind of unravel things that I thought I knew, like about history, for example, and you can see more about that in my education video. One of the struggles that I face is just wondering if I'm doing enough. And to be honest, I have the kind of personality where I could ask myself that about anything in life. My writing, other creative projects, my fitness levels at the moment, all kinds of things. And I would probably always answer no, I could be doing more, I'm not doing enough. White guilt is a real thing. It's real. I realized that I had it when I was at the movies with my dad watching 12 Years a Slave and wanted to melt into the seat from all my white guilt. So, I'm trying to just accept that feeling when it comes, let it wash over me, and really say to myself and believe that if you are doing anti-racism work and if you are doing social justice work, then you're on the right side, you're doing the right thing. Don't get depressed over guilt, right? Like, let's just do the work and, feel it and let it pass. One of the things that I'm doing to combat this feeling is I'm keeping my activism journal, which I showed you guys in another video, just to document the steps I'm taking, the places that I've been donating to, tidbits from the books I'm reading or articles. And that helps because I can see in black and white, like, okay, you have done something. One thing that has been hard, especially with this video journey that I'm on, is I don't want to take up precious space in a conversation in which my voice should not be the loudest voice. And of course it's not the loudest. I have 24 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. What I mean is I don't want to be taking up the space that really black voices should be taking up. So as a result of feeling this and kind of having this worry, one of the things that I'm doing is just ensuring that there is a diversity of voices in the materials that I'm reading. So making sure that most of the places where I'm getting my anti-racism and activism related content are from people of color. I would rather hear stories from people of color about the experiences of people of color. And I'm making sure to amplify that, to put it out to whoever follows me. And that is like a whole other issue where it's sort of like, oh, if you're sharing too much and you're not doing enough, whatever enough is, then right, are you like a performative ally? And of course, I don't want to be putting on a performance. I want the world to be a better, more equal and just place. But not having your intentions misconstrued is something that I think all of us are struggling with in the digital age, where our social media is a big place where we do information gathering and sharing. You don't want to be perceived as being performative and being on trend when you're amplifying black voices, when you're amplifying anti-racism messages. But then at the same time, to not be kind of spreading the message is almost like this is the laziest piece of work you could do, is to click add to my story, is to share to Facebook. So to not do it is almost like, wow, I'm not a huge fan of getting called out or being wrong, like none of us are. But I would say this to somebody who thought completely opposite of me, that I hope you could take new information, take what people are saying, go home and sit with it by yourself and just be open. So when the day comes, and I'm sure it will eventually, that someone calls me out for trying to be, an activist in the wrong way, I hope that I could do that same thing and take criticism and bring it home with me and sit quietly with it by myself and respect someone's opinion even if I don't like the way that they are saying it to me, and that I would be able to use that to inform future decisions, that I could be not super emotional about it, and that I could be better for it in the long run. Maybe the hardest part of this quest to do better is knowing when to open your mouth and knowing when to keep it shut. This is hard with family, with friends, with people on social media. It's probably the biggest thing that I've struggled with, and I know that probably a lot of other people are having this experience. Over the past 4 years, I had taken a real step back from engaging on social media because it was so devastating that people were okay with scandal after scandal after scandal. Being a sexual predator, fraud, it became so disheartening that I found myself unable to be fully happy. So I took a huge step back. I would still follow current events in the news, but to a much lesser degree. I would listen like once a day to snippets. I stopped engaging because it was emotionally draining. Now I realized at this point, and I knew it then, that being able to turn it off and have it not directly affect your life is a great privilege. I had the privilege of deciding that I would be happier to not think about what was going on around me. For a lot of people, this affects their day-to-day life every single day, whether they like it or not, whether they want to be involved or not. For example, like this administration trying to take away healthcare rights for transgender people, telling homeless shelters that they can kick them out into the streets. For Black and brown people, for immigrants, to whom this president has been nothing but vile, they don't have the choice of taking a step back or like taking a breather. So the struggle now is kind of like, I see something on social media that sounds racist, homophobic, amoral, sounds like it's wrong, sounds like factually it is inaccurate. At this point, I feel obligated to speak up. I had this happen a while ago, and it was someone who I had been really good friends with in high school. We're more like acquaintances now, but no bad blood, just, time and space. I saw something posted that it was just insensitive. And I don't think the person meant anything malicious by it. It was not outwardly racist or anything. It was making light of something that really shouldn't be made light of. I wanted to keep scrolling. I wanted to avoid any confrontation. It wasn't like some stranger on the internet or some troll or some person that I think is a jerk. It was someone that I care about and respect and had a relationship with. So it just was super uncomfortable. And I didn't want to do it. But I felt like if you're not willing to speak out against this, then it means you're complicit. It means that what that person's saying is okay with you. The same way that I feel like politicians should use their conscience and speak out against what's wrong, I have to hold myself accountable. I have to hold myself to that standard, and especially where I'm trying to be a better activist and a better ally. So I carefully worded a response that didn't sound like I was being combative or wanted to fight or was being aggressive or was being rude. My intent wasn't to call her out for being racist, because I really don't think that's what it was. I think it was just not realizing that the joke wasn't funny because it was insensitive. And we had sort of a little back and forth, but it wasn't too bad. I think that she was receptive to it. There's certain people on my accounts that I am I shouldn't even engage, I shouldn't even be following them, and what am I even doing here? This is so exhausting, going back and forth, and sometimes you gotta just cut it off. I don't want to be talking in an echo chamber. It doesn't move the needle at all if we're only engaging with people who already believe what we believe. The point is for all of us to reach more consensus, for the whole of society to become a more just and equitable place. I want the world to be better, but I don't want the world to be better because we just have ignored what all these other people think. I want people to come around and embrace diversity, want equality. Sometimes it really sucks. It's exhausting, it's tiring, but this is the work. I want to be doing my part. I think white people have a really important role. This is really more a white people problem than a black people problem, because white people have created the systems of oppression. White people created systemic racism. It didn't happen all on its own. It wasn't an act of God, despite what some people might believe. So this is work that white people should be engaging in. And even though I don't really like doing it all the time, I'm going to keep having these tough conversations, work up my nerve, say the things that I feel, say them in a calm, collected way. Hey, you may not have thought of this before, but that's wrong. That sounds really insensitive. That sounds like you haven't learned about the subject before. So for those of you who are experiencing kind of your own awakening, or even for those of you who have been involved in activism and social justice before, but you're now doubling down in this moment, what are some of these struggles that you have been going through on your quest to be better and do better? And what are some of the remedies that you've been using to mitigate the negative stuff? I'd love to hear from other activists who are more experienced than me. What are your best tips for keeping focus, keeping your head in the game while not getting burnt out to the point of crumbling? For my people of marginalized communities, and I'm not just talking to Black people of color, but Indigenous people of color, what about Latinos, Latinas, my LGBT people, especially my trans brothers and sisters? This question's for you. How would you want people to show up better? I don't see enough people doing this, and this would be really helpful. And on the opposite side, what are those things that make you cringe when you see people doing them? Good intentioned people who are trying to help, but who are doing it in not the best, maybe a cringy kind of way. What are those things? Let us know. Everybody get at me in the comments. I would love for this to be kind of a discussion of how everybody feels about stuff. Respectful, of course, but yeah, would love to hear from you guys. And with that, I think that this has come to an end, so I'm gonna get out of here. But if you guys did make it through the whole video, if you liked watching this video, please go ahead and click that thumbs up. It means a lot. If you decide that you want to follow along on my personal journey, or if you want to check back for little nuggets of activism and social justice related content, then please go ahead and click that subscribe button. I would love to have you walking on this journey with me. That's it for today. Thanks again for stopping by Activism on the Fly. Now let's get out there and fight that good fight.